Admittingly, I'm not much of a Tekken fan compared to the other fighting games that I'm a fan of. I mean, I like Tekken, but I don't like Tekken. I wasn't fond of most of the main characters, specifically the Mishima family. The gameplay always scared some of my friends from playing it, and the only game I own in the franchise to this day is Tekken Tag Tournament for the PlayStation 2. That being said, I was still curious about the CG Tekken movie Blood Vengeance, hoping that it would be at least better than the anime movie ADV Films released. As for comparing to the live action film, I have yet to see it, even though I had a positive outlook looking at the trailer, and I've heard from several sources that the movie wasn't all that good either, so I'm more reluctant to watch that version of Tekken. That being said, after watching Tekken Blood Vengeance, I thought the film itself was okay. And compared to the other movies based off of fighting games, live action and animation wise, it ranks a possible second or third place, where it still succeeded by my number one favorite fighting game movie adaptation, Street Fighter II the animated movie. Tekken Blood Vengeance is a CG film based off of Namco's Tekken fighting game series. The film runs about 90 minutes long, and it takes place between the timelines of Tekken 5 and Tekken 6. The story revolves around a skirmish family feud between the G Corporation led by Kazuya Mishima and the Mishima Zaibatsu led by Kazuya's son, Jin Kazama. They've been currently fighting for the possession of the M-Cell, a special genetic cell that contains powers within the Mishima bloodline. The G Corporation dispatches Ling Xiaoyu to attend an international school to spy on Shin Kamiya, a possible possessor of the M-Cell. Meanwhile, the Mishima Zaibatsu sends Elisa Boskanovich to do the same. So, it's an action film, and while the Mishima feud is still an essential part of the story, majority of the narrative focuses on Xiaoyu and Elisa, which I had no issues with considering that they're the two characters I actually like. The film, while 90 minutes long, is kind of slow paced at the beginning, specifically the first and second acts. It focuses on the relationship between Xiaoyu and Elisa and the hunt for Shin Kamiya, which admittedly was kind of dull, to be honest with you. And there were some comic relief elements into the film that did keep me a little chuckling and a little bit alive while watching the film. And there's only 5 big action sequences, and the last 3 are back-to-back at the end of the film. As for the other characters, apart from our 2 protagonists, I was never that big fan of the Williams sisters. They were just a couple of assholes that just hate each other, and I really had no side to take at all. Lee is just a comedy relief in this film. Ganryu was only in one scene. Didn't know Mokujin was that essential to the Tekken storyline, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll see when you watch the film. Panda is obviously in the film since she's Xiaoyu's bodyguard and also provides some comic relief. And Shin Kamiya is fucking meaningless. Seriously, he's a movie exclusive character, and you know how that turns out. Pretty awful. There was really no point caring about this character at all, despite being an essential plot device, and that's all he is. He's not really much of a character, a plot device. And he disappears by the second act of the film anyways. And so that's the story of the Tekken. It's really not much there, which is sad considering that it was written by Dai Sato, who wrote a few episodes of Cowboy Bebop, Wolf's Rain, and Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. The CG was done by Digital Frontier, who also worked on another CG film titled Resident Evil Degeneration. The CG in this film looks very similar, if not better, than the cinematics to Tekken's 5 and 6's cutscenes. It's very clean, pretty detailed environments, character designs are spot on with the video games, save for the devil designs, which now look something straight out of the Devilman series. The action sequences admittedly uses a lot of close-up shots, but they are still very impressive and got me interested in them despite me not caring about the characters all that much. And yes, so I gotta say that the high point for this film was the visuals itself. In the music department, it's your typical Tekken, techno score with some movie symphony moments added in there, nothing too memorable for me. As for the language in the film, it's either all Japanese or all English, not a mix of both like the Tekken video games. I obviously saw this in English and I thought it wasn't that bad, and I even recognize a good chunk of the voice actors, most of them being from other fighting games, like Alyssa's voice being the same as Noelle Vermillion's, and Jin Kazama's voice being the same as Ragnar the Blood Edges and Scorpions. So we know who's being typecasted here. Jin's voice honestly did not fit well at all, and there were times where he sounded like he was older than his father, Kazuya, who is voiced by Kyle Hebert, by the way. Also, while there was probably no way around this, the lip syncing with the voices on the CG models would range from being spot on to not even getting close to ballpark. So in the end, this movie can only be recommended to the hardcore Tekken fans who are that familiar with the characters and backstory. If you're just looking for a straight up action movie with balls-to-wall fighting, you may be disappointed by the first 2/3 of the film, because each third only has one fight sequence. And even if you're not a Tekken fan and want to watch this for the story, it's almost near impossible because a required knowledge of certain character backstories and a bit of a lore is kind of needed before you have to look into this film. However, like I said before, I still think the film was better than the anime movies, hands down, and I may even give this film a second watch with friends, who knows. Well, I hope you enjoyed this review, and with that said, this is Darkscream217 signing out.